this series. 49ers with the advantage. But you can see Atlanta's had their way since 1975, including that 20-17 win, which, by the way, ended San Francisco's winning streak earlier in the year. 49ers were 3-0. And so Montana now in a precarious situation. His team has the ball just across the 5. Both teams have failed on 4th and less than a yard to take it on in.
There's some things that have happened early in this game that may come back to haunt either or both of these teams.
Solomon in motion. Montana to Cooper. Cooper out to the 10, and he's out to the 15, and that's close to a first down, and that's the kind of operating room that Montana needs. Cooper is one of those guys, John, we saw him earlier this year go 66 yards down the sideline. Kind of sneaky fast on that far side.
He is, you know, and he's a threat. He's not only can run the ball some, but he's a real good pass receiver. And when he gets the ball, he knows what to do with it. He'll get that thing upfield.
Well, they were talking about him having the rookie blues, attributed to the long schedule. Buddy Curry said the same thing, the young rookie linebacker for Atlanta.
That's what happened. It's a real shock to a rookie.
A first down. Montana. Catch is made by Cooper, but a lot of people around him, including Bob Glazebrook. And actually, they may have lost a yard on that play to the 15-yard line. Montana trying to hit Cooper. Cooper really paying for it.
You know what I think happens, Gary? You watch the films and you see these Atlanta linebackers. You say, well, they're young, they're inexperienced. They get deep drops, so we'll throw in front of them, and that's all true. And you see that on film. But the only thing is, once you throw in front of them, they all come running up real fast to tackle you, and you end up with 1-yard gains or no gain.
And back to what you talked about, that's the coming thing in the NFL. Guys like Richardson, Williams, Bobby Leopold, the prototype. Second down, 11. Montana has running room. Out to the 20, 21-yard line. He'll be 5 yards short of the first down. Al Richardson, one of those rookie linebackers who has 7 interceptions. In fact, in 7 straight games, he's had at least 1 turnover, meaning a fumble recovery or an interception. And Richardson, many people felt would never play. He tore up his knee as a freshman at Georgia Tech, and he has a real arduous process he goes through before and after practice to help that knee.
He sure does. And you know, you talk about going from last to first, and why, you know, in this Atlanta defense, they've had 14 interceptions by rookies this year, maybe 15.
Third down now, 5. That will not get the first down. Buddy Curry made sure of that. So on third down conversions in this game, San Francisco now is 1 for 5.
That's right. Well, you can't throw underneath on third down against this team. I know that if you're going to throw the ball on third down, you have to get your receivers up the field because, one, they swarm, they gang tackle, and they tackle too well to be able to get first downs by throwing 3 or 4 yard passes.
There is Kenny Johnson, and the kick by Jim Miller. Johnson looking up into the sun to the 40, 41. Good coverage that time. Give credit to Lewis Gilbert, who started the year as an Atlanta Falcon. He played his collegiate football at the University of Florida. And so, with good field position, Atlanta with a 7-0 lead. Old coaches again that we keep running into throughout the National Football League.
That's an old Oakland Raider coach wearing an Atlanta Falcon hat.
From the 41-yard line, Atlanta with the ball. 7:28 to go in this first half. Falcons with that 7-0 lead. Bartkowski on a delay to Lynn Kane, and Kane not going to get much on that play. Lawrence Pillars did a good job, number 65, reading it, staying home, and for all of that effort, they're about where they started, original line of scrimmage. Pillars played so well against New England, but he had a drop-off last week. He started 15 games last year for the Jets. And there's where we stand right now as we approach 7 minutes in the second quarter.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that this game is as conservative as it is by both teams, really.
You might think that San Francisco would really open it up. They have nothing to lose. That pass intended for Jenkins at the 41-yard line. Not making a connection, and it'll bring up a third down. Bartkowski very, very good today as far as the percentages are concerned, and for the year, what a year he's having. 55% He's thrown for over 3,000 yards. The first time in his career he came in here with 3,048 yards. He's just rewritten the Atlanta passing record. But you know what he's most proud of? A club record of 118 passes without an interception. Third down, 9 yards to go. 3 wide receivers in now for the Falcons. Bartkowski with time. He hits Andrews, but the tackle instantly by Terry Tutalo. They gain a yard, and that was a very impressive defensive effort on that series by San Francisco.
Right, I think we're seeing the same type of defensive efforts. You know, the 3-man line or the 4-man line, the deep drops, and then letting them hit those passes underneath, and real good convergence and tackling.
John James, a kick for the first time. And James has been spectacular this year. He has 23 kicks that have landed inside the 20-yard line. Twin safeties back for San Francisco as you look at James. James in his 9th year. Boy, he hits that one very, very high. Freddie Solomon. And Solomon out to the 17. And Atlanta covered it well. Kicked well, 46 yards, a 6-yard return. Atlanta down there, stringing it out very well. 7-0, the Falcons. The Steelers, 7-3, but Nick Lowry's kicked a 36-yard field goal for the Chiefs in that game. And now the Jets with a 10-7 lead. Kevin Long with a 1-yard touchdown run, and Pat Leahy with a 26-yard field goal. It's 7-0 here. At the 17-yard line, San Francisco with a football. Linville Elliott back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. We talked about the linebackers, how quick and active they are. Let's take an isolation look at it.
Look at how deep they line up, Gary. They line up 5 yards deep so that they can do this. You see, when the ball snapped, rather than going laterally, they want to attack the line of scrimmage. And we just saw it there. They're 5 yards deep. The ball snapped, boom, they come right up into the line. And this is one of the reasons. I mean, that's what it does.
And Montana is finding some difficulties trying to throw inside it. Second down now, still 10 yards to go. This time back to throw, and protection is excellent. He's now having to run. He has a block from Charlie Young, and he's going to get back to the 16-yard line. Lost a yard on the play. Joel Williams over there. He had protection, John, but there just wasn't anybody open on that play.
No, he didn't have anyone open. He only had the 3 men out there deep, you know, for the first down. And we watch him, and he's looking downfield. He had some bumps on the line of scrimmage. He's looking downfield. He's waiting. He doesn't have anything. He tries to go to Cooper. Now, Cooper was covered, so the only alternative he had is keeping himself and run with it and get out of bounds. Because it hurts when you're inbound sometimes.
Boy, he must feel those linebackers are all over the place.
That's the way they play.
Third down, 11. San Francisco needs some field position. Rifles a shot to Dwight Clark. He couldn't hang on. That would have been enough for the first down. And guess who was back there? Joel Williams, who has 15 sacks this year along with 2 interceptions. He was back there helping the secondary out, and that brings up a 4th down. And that time, Montana was throwing into a lot of red shirts.
He did, but he made a nice throw. He really put some mustard on it, and
some what on it? Mustard?
That was your line. I never heard of mustard. Are you kidding me?
There's Miller, barefoot and all. He's averaged 42 yards now in his first 2 efforts. Out of Mississippi. 3rd-round draft pick. He's been struggling at times, and a big rush. Rollin Lawrence, and he's got. Rollin Lawrence was there first. He then had to change, try to kick it, and all of a sudden he had help behind him. And that will mark it at the 3. Atlanta will take over there. Boy, did Rollin Lawrence come flying through on this play.
That may be what the Atlanta Falcons needed. They needed something to turn this around. They missed field goals. They didn't make a 4th down play. Now watch this. Usually you have 9 men up. As we see here, Atlanta had 10 men up on the line of scrimmage, and they hit every gap. They brought all 10 men, and Miller didn't have a chance.
Rollin Lawrence there first. Now let's look at this angle. Rollin Lawrence, after he runs by and gets all excited. Look.
Miller just got up, and there's, you talk about swarming red jerseys. How about that?
The ball marked at the 4, 1st and goal, Lynn Kane, and a great defensive effort being applied over there by Dwight Hicks, 22. That's going to be a loss. Back out to the 6-yard line. Dwight Hicks has made 2 key defensive plays in this second quarter.
Right, that was a big play on that first down run. Kane was running. Andrews made a block to the outside, and Kane, instead of cutting inside the block, tried to go to the outside and outrun it.
So San Francisco, who earlier held on a 4th and inches, now with a 2nd and goal, trying to shore it up again. Loss back to the 6.
I wouldn't be surprised if the 49ers came on some type of safety blitz on these next 2 downs.
Atlanta with a 7-0 lead, trying to capitalize. Bartkowski in trouble, and an excellent effort by Stuckey and Lawrence Pillars. And you have to really give San Francisco a lot of credit.
I'll tell you, they did an outstanding job of coverage in the end zone. They were trying to run crossing patterns. Now, when you run crossing patterns, it takes a little longer to develop because they not only have to get their depth, but then they have to run all the way across the field. As Bartkowski was waiting, his protection broke down.
Bartkowski able to scramble a little bit, but still Stuckey and Pillar stayed with him. Well, that Stuckey is really coming on. He's going to have some surgery in the off-season on an ankle. But he's playing like he's healthy today. 3rd down, 3 wide receivers. Remember, this is 3rd down and goal. Bartkowski intercepted. Bobby Leopold comes away with it, and San Francisco has the ball at the 15-yard line. Leopold, his 2nd interception of this year, and this is one fine young linebacker, and Bartkowski has to be upset at himself, as Atlanta now has lost 2 excellent opportunities deep in the 49ers territory, and each time they come away with no points. Let's look at that last interception. Alfred Jenkins was the intended receiver.
Right, and that's who Steve Bartkowski was going for. He saw number 44, Charles Johnson, beat, but he didn't see the linebacker, Bobby Leopold. He was looking downfield. He saw Jenkins. He saw the corner, Charles Johnson, but he didn't see number 52, Bob Leopold, and he threw it right to him.
So San Francisco, who's known for their passing offense, has really gotten a remarkable performance from their defense in this first half. Montana going deep. Owens trips and falls. James Owens, Kenny Johnson defending. Johnson had very good coverage on that play, as Montana trying somehow to get it deep on him, and that time Atlanta was not fooled at all. Cincinnati with that lead. Pete Johnson, 1-yard touchdown run. Well, that's one of the, 2 times now Montana's really put one down the field.
Right, we felt that that would be the approach of the 49ers today, that one, they would try and throw underneath the linebackers or in front of the linebackers, and then deep beyond the corners, who they feel settle at about 15 or 17 yards. But neither one has really been successful in this first half.
2nd down 10 from the 15. Montana has to get rid of it. As pressure put on by Williams, he gets it off, and Linville Elliott will bring it out to the 22-yard line. Kenny Johnson pounds him there. Boy, did you see 58, Joel Williams? You can see why he has 15 sacks, because he came pouring back there, and Montana had to get rid of the football.
Right, well, of course, it was a screen pass, and the person that would block Williams was the player that was going to catch the screen pass. You see the guard, John Ayers, he starts out in front, he gets it out to the back, and then, of course, Ayers makes a good block that sprung Elliott for a few more yards.
Another 3rd down, and thus far, San Francisco 1 for 6, 3rd and 2. Oh, a little flea flicker. Montana almost intercepted. Tom Pridemore. And Montana looking at his efforts up the field. That flea flicker did not fool Atlanta. Atlanta, John, has really been deep conscious, haven't they? They've gotten that secondary back.
They sure
deep.
have, and this is a different type of flea flicker. He hands it to Cooper, who starts into the middle of the line, stops at the line of scrimmage, pitches it back to Joe Montana, and then he was trying to get deep with it. Now, the thing is, it had no effect on the safeties, as we saw Tom Pridemore didn't go for the play.
Wonder why. Wonder why that didn't fool him at all. They really were back all the way on that.
He wasn't playing run.
This is Johnson back. Miller to kick. Miller, I imagine, will try to get this one off in a hurry after the last time.
Same block.
Boy, he didn't get that away all that quickly, but he has a good kick. At the 35, Kenny Johnson. And look at the white shirts down there. Good coverage again. 42-yard punt that time by Miller, who had a lot of pressure on him after that last one. No yards on the return. And once again, Atlanta will have the football. Bob Farrell was the man who was down there. He is their special teams captain, and you can see why as quickly as he got down on that punt. Well, we'll be there next Saturday, John. Bears and Buccaneers. Your good friend John McKay.
Right, in Tampa Bay.
Boy, the weather's beautiful here today. It'll be down there next week. 55 degrees at kickoff time. From the 35, first down. Markowski to Junior Miller. And Miller out to the 45. Ray Rhodes, and that should be enough for the first down. Let's see where they mark it. Boy, I like this guy. First-round draft pick out of Nebraska. Came in, had some contract squabbles. His wife had some problems with her health. But he's put it all together, and with this organization, and I might add this class organization, he's fitting in very well. First down, just across the 45. Up the middle to the 50-yard line. Dan Buns. Buns in on a lot of tackles already in this game. This guy was one of 2 first-round draft picks in 1978 for San Francisco. As Kane moves it to the 50, where it'll bring up second down, and still 6 yards to go. We approach the 2-minute warning with 2:22. The scoring came at the 9:52 mark of the first quarter. The first series of the game for Atlanta. Since that time, both teams with excellent opportunities, not able to capitalize. Markowski. The time is there. Nobody really open. Andrews, and a good hit that time. Flying up there was Craig Pookie, the man who's in there now in place of Keena Turner, who was shaken up. There he is. He was an all Southeast Conference pick a year ago. Hasn't played all that much.
You know, the one thing, Atlanta today, to be honest, really doesn't look like a championship team, and we've seen them play much better than this. The one obvious thing is the fact that they have the 2 outside receivers, Wallace Francis and Alfred Jenkins, who have only caught 1 pass apiece. The outside receivers have only caught 2 passes, and for them to really be effective, they have to catch more than that in a half a play.
Now on this third down, they have 3 wide receivers. Let's see if they can get it to those wide receivers this time. Markowski's trying, but I believe, was that ball tipped a little bit?
Yeah, it was tipped.
So that'll bring up 4th down. Jenkins trying to come up with a diving catch on the sideline.
Again, we'll see it here. See, he's trying to get the ball out to Jenkins. We see Pillars right there, right at the end, where he starts to rush the passer up the field. Now he sees Bartkowski throwing, so the next best thing to do is just jump up and make him throw over you.
The 2-minute warning. We'll be back in a moment. The announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. John, you just mentioned a while ago that Atlanta not the kind of team that we saw last week and earlier. Sometimes you get a little tight, a little cautious because you're so close to the threshold of a division title.
Right, and of course they had a big game last year with the Eagles, and I have the feeling in this first half that Atlanta is playing not to lose rather than to win.
Well, that's an interesting statement. When you've won 8 in a row and you're so close, you've never been this close before in the 15 years of your franchise, can do some strange things to you.
But the 49er defense has a lot to do with that. They're playing very well.
James hit this one kind of off the side of his foot, and a fine run by Solomon bringing the ball out, but we have another flag. Solomon was able to advance it to the 20-yard line. James kind of shanked that one off the side of his foot. He was trying to go for the corner. 35-yard kick. But let's see what the penalty's all about.
I would say it's against Atlanta for leaving early. It looked like they
holding, and it's against San Francisco.
Well, I was wrong on both Atlanta and San Francisco.
Well,
now,
you and those officials
wait
never
a minute,
did
now, if that is holding against San Francisco, that's an automatic first down for Atlanta, so they'll get the ball back and first down. That hurts.
Defensive holding before the kick. Number 28, 5 yards and first down.
Well,
let's see if we can see this.
You got better eyes than I do, Coach Madden. If you can, I know you've been watching films for so long that your eyes are a little sharper than mine, but
All I do know is that is the toughest penalty that there is. Anytime that you hold on punt return before the ball is kicked, it not only gives them back the ball, but automatic first down. That's a tough, tough penalty.
Here's Lynn Kane on a first down from the 45, and there's that characteristic style of his, good for 5 yards. Dan Buns made the stop.
You know, last week against Philadelphia, they got a break. The Falcons did. They got a break, and they came right down the field, and they scored, and they won the game. I wonder if they'll do that with this break that they just received.
Minute 29 left in the first half. Second down, 5. Bartkowski. You saw Pookie try to reach out and bat it down. Gerard Williams, the intended receiver, was Jenkins. And he rifled that one. But Pookie, very quick and active, reaching for the ball. That will stop the clock with a minute 24.
You know, Steve Bartkowski really doesn't have the zip on the balls that he's had in the past. I wonder if that quarterback sneak that he ran early in the game where he banged up his knee, I wonder if that's bothering him now, where he's having trouble planning or rotating his hips to get a full zip on the ball.
Good point. I would suspect as a coach you talk to him when he's on the sideline, see if he has any cobwebs up there.
Right, but they all say they're okay anyway.
Third down. 4 to go. Bartkowski going deep. Jackson down there. Hicks is down there. Alfred Jackson, they call him Action Jackson because of the fact that he's been such a big play performer. In fact, he had 3 touchdown catches in the first 6 games. But a man you've got to really keep singling out is 22, Dwight Hicks.
Dwight Hicks, you talk about an action man. Dwight Hicks has really been an action man. He's been good and strong against the run. He's been back deep, knocking down passes. You know, and he did that in the Giants game a couple weeks ago. He had a big game in that game that we saw.
Well, Hicks is the kind of guy they'd kind of like to move to strong safety. He's playing the free safety spot, but they really like him. Out of Michigan, James hits that very high. They're going to let it hit. Nope, they're not either. Fair catch is called by Hicks. And Hicks makes the catch at the 14-yard line, a 26-yarder. And so, with a minute 9 left in this first half, San Francisco is able to hold again. And San Francisco's defense has just been superb in this first half of play. And coming into this game, we really didn't say anything about that defense. But, John, we saw them shut out the Giants, and they had 6 interceptions against New England. Maybe they got to start getting some credit.
I think they should. You know, and it all started with the change to that 3-man line. I think that gave the secondary a little more confidence because they had a 4th linebacker in there that could help in pass coverage.
Montana on a rollout, being chased by Yates. And he gets to the 15-yard line, stopping the clock with a minute 3. Looking ahead to the final games of the regular season of play. The Lions, they may have to win that one. They're still alive both as the division champion and as a wild card. The Vikings could win the division title today, and other games, I tell you, that's the thing Atlanta wants to avoid, John, is having to win that game in L.A. to win the division.
And to avoid that, they can win today. If they win today, then they win their division. So as Lehman Bennett said, we'd like to go out, get the 49ers, and get it over with.
Second down, 9. Montana, by the way, is leading San Francisco in rushing with 20 yards. But here comes Earl Cooper, and Cooper with a first down to the 30. Cooper to the 35. And the rookie is to the 39-yard line. Don Smith dropped him. And Cooper, with those moves, has given him some breathing room. A timeout after a 24-yard gain. The 49ers asking for that timeout with 53 seconds.
Look at this. It's a draw play. Cooper waits like it's a pass. He waits. He gets the ball handed to him. He gets a good block by Cross in the front. That gets him out. And then he makes a nice run. And now he's the leading ground gainer. There's Bill Walsh. He's telling Joe Montana what he would like to have him do. And again, that's a big thing. They were backed up. They were on the 20-yard line. They had 80 yards to go. Now they're out at 40. Now Bill Walsh is telling them, now we can go to work.
53 seconds left in this first half. First down for San Francisco, just across their own 38-yard line, the 39-yard line area. Montana. And did he stay in bounds? He did. Freddie Solomon. Marlon Lawrence defending on a play. Fine catch by Solomon. And now with 46 seconds, they're in the Atlanta end of the field, just outside the 40-yard line.
One thing, you know, you would think at the end of the half, at the end of the game, that Atlanta has to stay with the same types of defenses that they've done well within the season and within the game. And that means more of a press. I think that they ought to, you know, continue to bring Joel Williams. Don't loosen up so much that you let him complete 20-yard passes in front of you.
In other words, stay out of the prevent defense?
Stay out of the prevent. Go after him. Press him. Make something happen.
Montana on the first down. Hits Cooper. Cooper got a 5-yard pickup. Clock running now with 38 seconds. Making the stop, Curry, Kuykendall. You see the clock ticking around to the 30-second mark. San Francisco hurrying it up. Montana, protection there. And he hits Eason Ransom, the tight end. That'll be a first down to the 28-yard line. Kuykendall again with a stop, and a timeout is called by San Francisco. And with only 16 seconds left. Montana over to visit with Bill Walsh, and all of a sudden the 49ers are moving the ball. And I want to pick up on a point, Mr. Madden. You talked about the prevent defenses. I'm not a coach, but I've never seen very many prevent defenses work.
Well, again, to use a prevent defense, a true prevent defense, the big thing is the score and the time. Now, when they need more than one score to beat you, and it's at the end of the game, that's a good time for a prevent. With a score 7-0 before the halftime, I really don't like it. You know, this is a tight game. Now, they had the 49ers on the minus 20-yard line, and by playing a little looser, they have let him drive complete 2 or 3 passes, and now they're in a position for a field goal.
And interestingly enough, it was last week, I think we mentioned this briefly, that it was Atlanta that scored just before the half, cut the lead to 4 points, and of course with a 7-0 lead, a field goal right now could be very big in this game.
You know, we had a lot of things happen in this first half that can come back to haunt either one of these teams. You know, we had both teams have gone for it on 4th down. We've had a missed field goal. We've had some timeouts used up. We've had some opportunities that really haven't been capitalized on. And I'm sure that that's what they're thinking on the Atlanta side. I know on the San Francisco side, Bill Walsh would figure, geez, they've had a lot of opportunities. We're only 7-0, but if we could get one in here now, it'd be great.
San Francisco with one timeout remaining. Linville Elliott. Elliott to the 25 and to the 23-yard line. The clock is still running. Nope, they stop it now with 9 seconds as he got out of bounds. Kuykendall over to make the stop.
I don't think he got out of bounds, Gary. I think he was trying to get out of bounds. Burl Toller, the official over there, said no, that he didn't get out of bounds, so the 49ers used a timeout, and now they're bringing their kicker, Ray Wershing. I talked to Ray before the game, and I said, you know, I like to talk to these kickers before the game. They're good guys, but I said, how do you like this place? He said, look, he said, any place is good compared to Candlestick Park. So when I get away from there, I'm happy wherever I kick.
Boy, he's done a job. 14 of 18, and this is going to be a 41-yard attempt. Ray Wershing, last week with a 36-yard field goal in overtime to defeat New Orleans. Wershing kicked on the way, and Ray Wershing hits it. And San Francisco with only 4 seconds left in this first half on the scoreboard. 7-3 our score, and Ray Wershing, who by the way has missed more point afters than he has field goals this year.
I know it.
He's missed 4 field goals and 5 point afters.
You know, it's funny, we saw the kickers out here early. There was Tim Mazzetti was out here and Ray Wershing, and that's one thing that any stadium, any game, the one thing you can just about count on is if you go out on the field early. Now, I'm talking about 2.5 hours before the game, you'll always find something. Both kickers will be out there checking out that field.
You're out there, you're getting them all straightened around. And
I like to talk to them. Yeah, crooked goalpost, straight goalpost, lean your head, you know, the different shoes you wear.
Well, anyway, Mazzetti has missed one from 35.
Now watch him soften up the ball. See, you do that to squeeze the ball so you can soften it and make it easier to kick.
They've got all these routines. Wershing always comes out in a T-shirt. You notice that? He walks around. He
got to wear a jacket.
Mazzetti comes out early. Oh, it's something. You get here early. It's like coming to baseball and watching batting practice. You get to watch the kickers. That was a funny kick. And coming up with it, Atlanta, that's Tony Dayton. And with 1 second left, Atlanta will have the ball just outside the 35-yard line. Well, I'll tell you, this second half is going to be most interesting.
what he was trying to do is he didn't want to kick the ball deep to let a real return man. He wanted to kick it through the front line into the wedge so the lineman would have to return it and hope that they wouldn't get another shot. But they do have one more play.
Well, with 1 second left, you put in your 1 second play, right?
What do you call that? Big Ben or something?
Right.
I've heard you have a word for it. What is it?
You just crank up and throw.
You just put a bunch of guys over on one side and run them all down the field, throw it up. What do you call it?
Little sandlot football. You know, you just everybody go deep and turn and look.
Nope, they're not going to do it.
They're not?
Well, they're not lined up to do it. I mean, they may still do it.
I was going to say they have, what, 3 receivers? Here we go. Last play of the first half. Here comes the big play to Jenkins, and he caught it for a moment. That's the thing about that play. And Atlanta a year ago, you remember, they beat New Orleans twice on a Big Ben play. Alfred Jackson was the man that did it. So there's our halftime score. Atlanta leading San Francisco 7-3. Start the second half of play. As you look statistically at this football game, the passing yardage very close. Atlanta, however, with the advantage in both time of possession and rushing.
Right, and then the first down is probably the story there. With Atlanta has 12 first downs, the 49ers only have 6. But there's one other interesting statistic, I think, that tells the story of why the score is 7-3 after one half. The fact that the third down efficiency, each team only has 2 of 9.
And in this game, both teams have allowed 1 sack. Fumbles, well, neither team have lost any there, but of course, both coming up with 1 interception. Ray Wershing, who kicked a field goal of 41 yards in distance with 4 seconds left in the first half, ready to kick off. Alfred Jackson is back deep for Atlanta. 7-3, the Falcons. They're a half away, if they can hang on here, to a division championship. Jackson out to the 20 to the 21-yard line. And one thing that's been very, very positive for both these teams is the coverage by their special teams on punts and kickoffs.
The coverage by the special teams and the play of the defense, the swarming and the tackling of both defenses have really thwarted both the offenses.
Gary Bender with John Madden as we start this second half. That's Bobby Farrell, who's one of those outstanding special teams players. We mentioned he is the captain of their special teams. In fact, just elected that, and he made a tackle, you might recall, in that first half on a punt. John, I want to go back to a point, though, that you were just talking about a lot in that first half, and that being that Atlanta playing very conservative, maybe at this stage playing not to win but not to lose.
Right, and we'll see this. We'll see Farrell coming into the screen right there. See him catch that block there, and it looks like as he goes down, he gets the knee twisted.
But to get to that point, I would imagine Lehman Bennett had a long conversation with his team.
I'm sure he did. You know, it was one thing that you just said that the Falcons have to hold on. I think they have to do more than hold on. I think they have to attack, go out and get them, make something happen.
And there's making something happen. William Andrews. Andrews picking up some yardage. Dwight Hicks, Dan Buns. As you look at Lehman Bennett, forward progress is going to be just about 2 yards, maybe a yard short of the first down. Andrews coming in here with a Falcon record of 1,125 yards, the best average in the NFC, 5 yards a carry. He's done it all this year. Second down, about a yard. And Andrews gets a first down. Andrews to the 35. Pillars with the stop. You might recall it was the initial series of this game that Atlanta scored on. They'd like to do that as they start the second half of play.
And I'm sure that at halftime, that's one of the things that they talk about. You always look at what you did good in the first half and what you did poorly. You try and stay with what you did good. You try and correct what you did poorly. Now, they realize that they ran early well with Andrews and Kane, and they want to get back to that.
First down from the 35. Bartkowski to Kane. Kane breaks out of there, and that's very close to another first down. Hicks again on the stop. So they have 1-2 punch, the most productive tandem in the National Football League. They came in here, Kane and Andrews, combined rushing of over 1,800 yards. Andrews, this time Kane, and that was a first down. They mark it at the 45-yard line.
Now, those are the types of things that you can do at halftime. Sometimes during the game, during the second quarter, things get away from you. You have a chance to go in and collect your thoughts.
Here is Kane, and Kane picks up 5 to the 50. Jimmy Webb hitting. Jimmy Webb, who's working on his degree in veterinary medicine, over to make the stop on Kane. Webb this year has been slowed with a broken hand. He had a cast on his hand for a long time.
You know, one other thing, Gary, we had a report that Ricky Churchman, the strong safety of the 49ers, was injured and may not come back. He's not playing now. He's really a very important factor in their run defense. It may be a little easier without Churchman in there.
What has happened, they have Rhodes playing a safety along with Dwight Hicks. Junior Miller, and Miller inside the 45 to the 43. Ray Rhodes, the man we just mentioned, making the stop. And a very relentless attack now by this Atlanta team. Very indicative of that drive that they scored on back in the first quarter.
I was going to say, they're doing the same types of things that they did in the first quarter on that drive. They're throwing to Junior Miller, and they're running the ball to William Andrews and Lynn Kane.
To further develop that secondary, Gerard Williams is now at left corner. Rhodes has moved to safety, still having Johnson at the right corner spot. On a first down. Andrews this time, well, wait a minute, don't give up on him yet. Looked like he didn't have anything. Instead, he gets to the 37. Jim Stuckey pounces on him there. He disappeared from view, but you could see he was making some progress because that pile was moving along with him.
As you say, we'll watch it here. Now watch these two running backs. They hand off. It's a little cut back. He had pretty good blocking in there. Watch those legs drive. You know, that's the one thing that you want a running back to do. You tell him, never stop your legs from driving. Never stop your feet from moving forward.
I think he's listening to you.
No. Someone taught him that a long time ago.
Second down, 5. Atlanta with a 7-3 lead. The initial series of the second half. Martkowski to Andrews. Andrews bounces off of people, and he's not going to get the first down. Dan Bunz eventually making the stop. Let's take an isolated look at that last effort by number 31.
And we'll see this. We'll see both of the running backs and see how they block for each other. Now, Lynn Kane is leading on that. He's leading on the outside man. He gets a good block, but the inside man is the one that stops him, but he hasn't stopped him yet, but he didn't get enough for the first down.
Look at that. Bunz just kind of did a whirlwind around with him, spin around to get him down.
I bet they don't quarterback sneak this one.
Third down, 1. He called it. Here's Kane, and I don't know. We may have a fourth down coming up. Jerry Wilkinson, a former Ram, who's 6'9" and weighs 260, was in on that tackle. And the ball being placed, it's going to be fourth down.
We're going to have fourth down, and it looks like the Falcons are going to go for another fourth down situation.
Remember now, in the first half, both teams had fourth and less than a yard and didn't get it in the first half.
I would think if I were going to do it that I would hand the ball to William Andrews.
All right.
I tried the quarterback sneak, and that one didn't work. Look at the fans. They love it when you go for it. If you don't make it, they don't love it, though.
Boy, that's a reversal in opinion in a hurry, isn't it?
Give it to Big 31.
That's who they're going to. Andrews, he's tripped up. The ball is loose, but it's been blown dead. Now, I don't think Andrews got it.
No, he didn't get it. I'll tell you, the one thing that we forget to mention here again is how well the 49ers are playing. And the thing that the 49ers did well on that play is they got penetration. They got into the backfield and got him stopped before he could get turned up. And that's what you have to do to these two running backs.
Well, what about running straight ahead, though? They ran sideways for a while, and on a short yardage play like that, well, you wonder. Cleveland Browns leading the Vikings. What a big game that is for both of them. However, the Vikings have scored on a 31-yard touchdown pass. Tommy Kramer to tight end Joe Sensor. Here, after a 4th and 1, Atlanta didn't get it. The 49ers with the ball at their own 34. Earl Cooper for a 2-yard pickup to the 36. Kenny Johnson with a stop. We may have a record today for 4th and 1s and not picking them up. We've had 3 thus far.
But now, let's watch number 65, Don Smith, the nose tackle here. Now watch the play here. You know, they have to stop and play in the middle of the field. and then go right down the line of scrimmage. And this is the type of nose tackle you like, one that can play the hole, as Don Smith can. Then if they go away, can come right down that line of scrimmage like an extra linebacker.
2nd down and 8, Montana. Too tall. Dwight Clark had double coverage on him. Kenny Johnson is over there. Also linebacker Joel Williams. Montana.
You mean he wasn't tall enough? What do you mean, too tall?
The pass,
no,
too tall.
Oh, I see. The pass was too tall. Or you could say Dwight Clark wasn't tall enough.
There's DeBerg. He has the information in. Turns around and walks away like he didn't think that was going to work.
No, he says, I want to play. Give me my helmet.
3rd down and 8. The 49ers, who have won 3 in a row. They'd like to end 8-8. That was their goal, really, at the start of the year. Back to throw. Montana on 3rd and 8. This time, Sullivan. Check that. Owens going up for it. Kenny Johnson defending on the play. And again, that secondary of Atlanta's around the football. There hasn't been really anybody that open in this entire game.
Oh, and again, it was too tall. He threw
what, the receiver or the ball?
No, the ball. He threw 2 talls in a row. Two talls.
Here's Miller back, doing a good job today. 42-yard average. Kenny Johnson.
Out of the shade.
There's Johnson. Now he'll have a little sun there, as you can see. Miller kicking out of the shade. Very, very well kicked. High at the 20. Johnson. I believe Atlanta's recovered it. They did. Kenny Johnson. Let's see who saved it for him. A 44-yard kick. And that is Roland Lawrence. So Lawrence very opportunistic on that play. Saved could have been a big turnover here in this 3rd quarter play. So you have to win this game. They're going to get into the playoffs. Nick Lowry's kicked another field goal in that game. James Hadnot scored on a 3-yard touchdown run. As at one time, Pittsburgh led in that game 7-0. With the football, Atlanta. The line of scrimmage, 17-yard line. Back to throw, Bartkowski. Gets it off to Andrews. Andrews, 25. And that's about it. Ray Rhodes over there to make the stop. Still going to be 2 yards short of the 1st down. Terry Tutalo over. Tutalo, the man they picked up after he started the year with the Eagles, then went to the Bears. Now a young man who played his collegiate football at UCLA, been a very valuable player for San Francisco.
An excellent job on that screen, because the Falcons had a 4-man screen out in front of Andrews, and Tutalo played through it and made the tackle.
2nd and 2, Lynn Kane. And Kane having to work hard. Thing about San Francisco is that you would figure on those short yardage situations you'd be successful, but they have made Atlanta work for everything they've gotten.
They sure have. And again, we talk about the 3-man line, but the thing that affords them is 4 young, quick linebackers who move up and down that line of scrimmage.
Coming into this game, San Francisco was 9th in the conference against the rush, allowing over 134 yards a game. Let's see if that measurement is going to be for the 1st down, and it will be. They started playing this 3-4 in the 9th game. And of course, they still use a lot of the 4-man front, but there's been indication that this defense is not nearly as bad off as everybody was thinking it was going to be. They ran into a couple of buzzsaws there back-to-back in LA and Dallas, kind of regrouped since that time.
Right.
1st down, Bartkowski. Over the middle to Andrews. Andrews to the 39, and that'll be another 1st down. Again, Tutalo 50, Buns over on the stop. Atlanta moving the ball again, but they did this the last time, only to fall short on a 4th down.
Right, and they're getting it up and down, and we'll see again here. We'll see the protection. He has pretty good protection. He's looking to the outside. He has to come back to Andrews on a check through. That means he checks like he's going to block and then delays and comes through.
6 catches for Andrews in this game for 48 yards. Lynn Kane. Kane to the 40. And at the 41-yard line. Some yelling and screaming going on around there as they were
That
Kind of
happens.
treating Kane tough on that sideline.
That happens every time you make a tackle on the sideline. You always get some abuse.
You never did any of that, did you?
I never got any abuse. I gave some abuse. It's just frustrations. You really don't mean it.
Keena Turner, by the way, good to see him back in there after being shaken up in that first half. He was in on that stop. Second down coming up, 7 yards to go. Bartkowski and the Falcons. What a big day this could be. They want to win this, clinch the division, then go to L.A. next week and get a week off for the playoffs. That one is Jackson. No, Wallace Francis. Correction. Wallace Francis to the 25-yard line. Beautifully thrown football by Bartkowski.
Right, that was. It was a double zone. The corner was up on Francis Buffum. The safety, Rhodes, didn't get over to that side. Bartkowski hit him right between the two defenders. You see the stun in there. They do a good job of picking up the stun. See now in this, there's a short man there and a deep man that will come into the picture right here, and he threw it right between the two. That's what the Falcons have to do. They have to get the ball to their outside receivers, Wallace Francis, Alfred Jenkins.
33-yard pass completion, Lynn Kane, and Kane to the 20 to the 18-yard line. Boy, that last play by Bartkowski is showing the strength of his arm. Turner and Buns on the stop for Lynn Kane to the 18-yard line, where he'll be a couple of yards short of the first down.
I think that's the thing that they needed, Gary, because they have been running the ball with Kane and Andrews. They have thrown the ball to Junior Miller. The only part of their offensive arsenal that they really hadn't exploited today were the two wide receivers, and they look like they're starting that now.
Kane, who has 2 100-yard days this year, having a good afternoon. This is Andrews. Andrews to the 10. That'll be a first down. Ray Rhodes made the stop. And the people here in the Peach State of Georgia are starting to get very excited.
There's some good blocking on this play. I think we have to mention Mike Ken, the left tackle. Dave Scott, the left guard, does a nice job. Jeff Van Note, the center, gets good movement in there to let William Andrews get up into the line.
So they have a first down. They can pick up a first and goal at about the half-yard line. Francis in motion. Bartkowski, the double fake. Junior Miller trying to take it in. He's in for the touchdown. Dwight Hicks just couldn't keep the big rookie tight end out of the end zone.
I'll tell you, that was some throw by Steve Bartkowski. He looked like he was a little shaken up, but they came on a safety blitz on that one. And we'll see if just as he's ready to throw the ball, he takes a lick here. Now watch the safety coming right up the middle. That's Ray Rhodes coming right up the middle. Just as Bartkowski throws the ball, he really takes one.
Boy, that big guy, he's unstoppable in a situation like that. Mazzetti, point after attempt. It's 14-3 in favor of Atlanta. So the Falcons, the last 2 times they've had the ball that moved it well, this time they got it into the end zone. Bartkowski to Miller. Miller coming away in this game with yet another touchdown pass, his 8th. Junior Miller, with that touchdown catch, has tied the club record. He has 8 for the year. The record was set last year by his teammate Wallace Francis. 6 catches today for the rookie. 14-3 Atlanta. This place is alive. James Owens. Owens to the 20, out to the 23-yard line. Owens this year has returned a kickoff. 101 yards for a touchdown. That against Detroit. That was a 17-yard return. Robert Pennywell with the stop. And now you wonder, John, if San Francisco's really going to have to open up, trailing 14-3. But the way Atlanta's been playing defense, there just hasn't anybody been open.
No, I think they will open up. They would like to get some better field position. That's one thing. Atlanta, with their kicking and their coverage and having pretty good field position, really hasn't put San Francisco in some real good field position.
From the 23, Montana on first down. Open over the middle. Freddie Solomon. And that's a very quick way to come back, isn't it? All the way into the Atlanta end of the field. They're going to mark the ball at the 46-yard line. Rollin Lawrence with the tackle.
Freddie Solum is the one game breaker that the 49ers have, and that's the one player that the Falcons were worried about. He just comes right on a post pattern, and that's a seam type thing. It's a zone defense, and he ran in the seam between the corner and the safety.
31-yard completion to this man who played his collegiate football at Tampa.
He's a quarterback.
And a very fine runner. Excellent running quarterback. Montana on first down again. He's going to take off. And he goes down in the fetal position at the 40. Picking up 6 yards on the play. Again, the protection was pretty good, but again, Atlanta wasn't letting anybody get open in that secondary.
No, they weren't, because the 49ers were trying to go deep. They had 3 receivers deep. There was nothing open. The only thing that Montana could do was run the ball. He waited as long as he could, as we see here, and then he had to take it himself.
DeBerg with the play information. It's anybody's guess what that means.
What would you guess?
They're going to try a triple reverse, I think.
No, it's a pass.
Second down, 4 from the 40. There's a delay to Don Woods. He's off and running, and that cost him up to the 20. Woods to the 17-yard line. They got to call that play more often. Tom Pridemore made the tackle, and that really surprised Atlanta. 23-yard pickup on the play.
That's not a bad one. It is, you know, they pass so much that their running really has to be off at this time. They caught Atlanta in a safety blitz. They had Bob Glazebrook, the strong safety, was up in the line of scrimmage. He came, so when Woods got through, then he was past 8 of them, and they only had 3 defenders left.
So all of a sudden, San Francisco looking impressive, trailing 14-3. First down at the 18-yard line. Montana in the corner. Pridemore, also Curry, Williams over there. The intended receiver was Clark, but he really wasn't all that close to the football.
I don't know if the intended receiver wasn't the back, Lenville Elliott. He had 2 players in his, so he's trying to throw it to Elliott right there. He just throws it a little behind him. He had him for a second, but that was good coverage.
A lot of red shirts around him. There's what you were talking about earlier, John. 15 interceptions. 7 of those by Richardson.
Now that's when coaches talk about contribution. That's a contribution.
Second down 10 from the 18. Hits Woods. And Woods is hit immediately. Glazebrook, Kuykendall is one of those players they just say has tremendous ability to be taught something and never forget it. He's been playing, as you well know, with a shoulder difficulty. He looks like he's a little pain right now.
Look at those shoulder pads. They look like they're built up. But you know what his nickname is?
Captain Crazy.
I love that. You know, they're all a little that way anyway. Really, you have to be a linebacker. They all have a little different look in their eye. He is.
And you looked for that, didn't you, all the time?
I love it. Captain Crazy should be a linebacker. Number 54. Great number.
Great number. All right. 3rd and 10. Quarterback draw, Montana. And he is going to get to the 12-yard line area where to bring up a 4th down. Well, that's what Montana gives his team, is the ability to run, and that time trying to cross him up the middle. No field goal attempt coming up, evidently. 4th down.
That didn't, I don't know, 3rd and 10 is a long way to have a quarterback have to run on a draw play, especially against this swarming defense of the Falcons. See, they don't change. They use the 3 linemen, 4 linebackers in all situations.
Well, they're not going to go for the field goal, obviously. 4th down.
Fans are all standing up.
4th down and 4. Woods, he can throw. He's 1 for 2 in that department. Still looking, and he never did. He never did get rid of the football. Al Richardson, the man we spoke of earlier, stayed with him, and Don Woods, who has thrown 2 passes previous to that, completing 1, just couldn't find anybody open to throw to.
There was no one down there. It's tough to throw a pass when there's not a receiver out there.